Hello, everyone. Today I have a story for you. I loved my son more than anything. He was my whole world, my reason to live. But what can a man do when his son wants to find another father instead? A father who gave him only blood, not love or care. Is love enough to keep a child close? My name is Michael. I have a son named Ethan. He is a wonderful boy. Ethan is 17 now. I am not his real father. I am his stepfather, but I love him like my own blood. His real father left when he was just a baby. I met Ethan's mother, Grace, when he was 2 years old. She was kind and warm. We fell in love quickly and got married. From that day, I became his father. I raised him with all my heart. I taught him to ride a bike. I helped him with homework. We spent weekends fishing, laughing, and watching movies together. We were a happy family until Grace got sick. The doctors couldn't help her. She passed away 5 years ago. It broke us both deeply. Ethan and I were alone, but we had each other to survive the pain. We became even closer after her death. He was my son. I was his dad. That was all that mattered to me. One evening, Ethan came to me. He looked serious and quiet. He sat next to me on the sofa. I was watching TV, but I turned it off. He said softly, "Dad, I need to talk to you." I felt worried right away. He looked unhappy and lost. I asked him gently, "What is it, Ethan? Is everything okay?" He took a deep breath and said, "I want to find my real parents." His words hit me like a heavy stone in the chest. I couldn't speak for a moment. My son wanted to find the man who left him. Why? Wasn't I enough for him? Hadn't I given him all my love already? I tried to stay calm. I asked, "Why now, Ethan? Why do you want this?" He said, "I'm almost 18. I need to know who I am and where I come from." He looked so serious. I could see it meant a lot to him. But a deep fear grew inside me. I was afraid of losing him forever. What if he found his real father and liked him more than me? What if he stopped calling me Dad? It felt like another man was taking my son away from my heart. I said quietly, "Ethan, I am your father." My voice was shaking badly. He looked into my eyes and said, "I know, Dad. You're the best father. But he's my biological one." Then he said the word that broke me. "It's different." That word cut deep. It meant I wasn't truly his real father. It meant maybe my love wasn't enough. I felt a wave of anger and sadness I couldn't control. I felt jealous. I didn't want my son to find that man. That man was a stranger. I couldn't bear the thought of losing my place in Ethan's heart. I had a terrible choice to make. I could say no and stop him completely. I could tell him to forget about it, to let the past stay buried. But that would only make him angry. He wouldn't understand my pain or fear. He might hate me for it, and our bond could break forever. Or I could say yes and help him find his real father. But that would hurt me deeply. I'd be helping my son find another man to call Dad. It was the hardest decision of my life. I didn't know if I was strong enough. For days we hardly spoke to each other. The house was silent and heavy. It wasn't peaceful silence. It was sad and cold. I thought about Ethan and our life together. I remembered the times we laughed, the birthdays, the long talks, the love we shared. He had filled my life with purpose. His happiness meant more to me than my own. Then I realized something important. My love for Ethan was bigger than my jealousy. It was stronger than my fear. If I truly loved him, I had to let him go. So one evening, I walked to his room. He was sitting on his bed quietly. He was holding an old photo of his mother, Grace. His eyes looked sad and distant. I sat beside him. I said softly, "Ethan, I'll help you find him." He looked at me with surprise. "Really, Dad?" he asked, his voice shaking. I nodded and said, "Yes, we'll do this together." A big smile appeared on his face. He hugged me tightly and whispered, "Thank you, Dad." In that moment, I knew I had made the right choice. My son was happy, and that was all that truly mattered. The search wasn't easy. We didn't have much information, only a name: Michael. We searched online and made many phone calls. It took weeks and endless patience. Every day I felt both hope and fear fighting inside me. I hoped we'd find him for Ethan's sake. But I was scared of what would come next. What kind of man was he? Why had he left his own child behind? Finally, we found him. He lived in another city, a few hours away. Ethan was so excited. He wanted to meet him right away. I was nervous. My heart was beating fast the whole time. We drove together in silence. Ethan looked out the window the entire way. I could see he was nervous too. I placed my hand on his shoulder. I said gently, "It'll be okay. I'm here with you." He smiled at me for a moment, and that gave me strength. We reached the address, a small old house with faded paint and quiet streets. We walked up to the door. Ethan took a deep breath and knocked softly. A man opened the door. He looked older than I expected. His face was tired, and his eyes were sad. Ethan said softly, "Are you Michael?" The man nodded slowly without a word. Ethan took a deep breath and said, "I'm Ethan. I'm your son." Michael's eyes grew wide. Shock filled his face. He just stared at Ethan in silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. The air felt heavy and strange. Then Michael stepped aside and said quietly, "Come in." We went inside. The house was messy and smelled of dust and old memories. He offered us a seat on a worn sofa and sat across from us. He was quiet, almost afraid to speak. Ethan started asking gentle questions. He wanted to know everything: who Michael was, what happened, and why he left. Michael's story was sad. He had been very young when Ethan was born. He said he had no job, no money, and no courage to stay. He was scared and made the worst mistake of his life. He ran away. He wasn't evil. He was weak. A man who failed when it mattered most. Then he looked at me. His eyes were wet and full of shame. He said softly, "You raised him. You are his real father." Tears rolled down his face as he turned to Ethan. He said, "I'm sorry, son. I was a coward. Mark is your real dad. He was there for you when I wasn't." His voice broke as he spoke. I looked at Ethan. He wasn't angry. He just looked sad and thoughtful. He finally saw the truth. His biological father was just a man with regrets. Not the hero he imagined. Just a man who made a painful mistake. When we left, the sky was turning dark. We drove home in silence. Ethan stared out the window the whole way, lost in deep thought. When we reached home, he turned to me and hugged me tightly. He said, "Dad, thank you. Thank you for everything you've done for me." He looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "Today I found my biological father. But I also learned something more important." He paused and smiled softly. "Blood doesn't make a father. Love does. You are my real father." My eyes filled with tears. All my fear and jealousy disappeared in that moment. I hugged him back and whispered, "I love you, son. Always." In the end, love was enough. It was more than enough. Our bond was stronger than ever. I wasn't just his stepfather anymore. I was his father, and he was my son forever. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more.